Right, so we're going to have a match between Jerimuno and ageofkiller as part of the Second Chance Tournament 2018 Autumn. We're going to have ageofkiller in the color orange, playing as the Chinese. Not sure if he's in the south or the north of the map yet. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. And he's going to be in the south of the map, of course. Jerimuno, on the other hand, he's going to be playing as the British in the color green. So to go over the history of these players, we'll start with ageofkiller. He's otherwise known as Breezy Beautiful, or Breeze Brothers, is I think his his original ESO account name. And
Breeze Brothers, yes.
yeah, so he's going to be taking seed number 4 in the Second Chance tournament. Pretty high seed. Jerimuno, on the other hand, going to be seed number 5. But talking about Breeze, he's a player from Turkey, and some might say he's the son of Kainisi and nephew of Bonang. You know, he's very fond of those defensive play styles, walls, water. Not something we're going to see a lot of on the map Tibet, but even still. He's a PR36 Colonel Max. He kind of sits closer to Lieutenant Colonel nowadays. He was actually inactive for a few months, maybe even up to a year. I'm not quite sure the exact time period, but he was inactive and he did come back for this tournament. He actually didn't participate in the main tournament because he has a busy life as a pop star in Turkey. But in 1v1, he's best known for his Portuguese, and he's also got some good Russia. He plays a lot of different civilizations in team games. I think he basically plays every European civilization except for Spain. He doesn't play China a lot in team games, and he doesn't play any of the native civilizations. But for this 1v1 match, he actually chose to lock in his China here, which is not a common pick for him.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what do you think about these resources and hunts?
Here, let me check. I actually think they seem quite balanced so far. So, Jerimuno gets 2 pretty nice hunts in the back. Ageofkiller's hunts in the back are a little bit farther away. Let me just run the console command. Control Shift C RD.
Especially, I think it could be crucial, especially for the orange player, because the Chinese usually don't go for very aggressive H2 against the British because they have very huge advantages if they go H3 with their shipments and units. So hard to say.
Yeah, basically I can see that Breeze has about 1.5x times the herds within the range of his TC. And he's going to say he doesn't mind. I appreciate
He doesn't
the... Yeah, I think these hunts are kind of out of the way of the town center, but they can be herded back. They seem, he's got reasonable hunts at every corner of the map. He can pretty much go extend in any direction that he wants and kind of herd them in. Plus, you have to take into account that the Chinese civilization gets villages, so they kind of operate as like outposts in addition to being houses. So, I think British are the aggressor on this map, but at the end of the day, Breeze is okay with it, so I think we'll stick with it. But I'm happy you pointed that out.
All right, so let's see how the game goes. Yeah. So far, Breeze has 6 yaks, which is very good for China, especially to have a livestock because of these villages. Although he went for the TP start, so there will be 2 yaks for some time, which will not be in a livestock basically. But still, 4 cows, why not? They get fatter over time, faster than usual, even though on this patch, in particular, the Chinese have been nerfed in regards to livestock because their villagers doesn't really support livestock as they used to on a repatch. On the other hand, Jerimuno is not so behind. If we take the cows into account, he's only on 5 yaks, so it's not that big of a deal right now.
Yeah, actually, Jerimuno picking up that 6th. Yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, so far we have the usual H1 stop. Regarding the treasures, we can see that it's been pretty balanced in regards to which player got what he got. So nobody really came on top in H1. And we might just be interested to see what these players have in mind for the game.
Yeah, we do see a forward villager coming out for Jerimuno, but Breeze is actually going to scout that. That's really important. So he knows that he can kind of expect some more aggressive play from Jerimuno. Not that he kind of wouldn't expect that anyway. I think British's best way to play this matchup is a little bit aggressive, at least applying some pressure in Age 2 while the Chinese players going up to the Fortress Age, as they like to do. You know, we don't always see the Chinese players going for nice trash. We don't always see Chinese players actually going for the Fortress Age. I know that a player like Lucas L99, he's played China so far a little bit in the tournament, and he's actually won a few games, just kind of bluffing a semi-FF, but instead committing to the Age 2 game plan and then just pushing out a win from there by his unexpected opponent. I don't think Breeze is that experienced with China, so it's kind of hard to say whether he's going to just blindly go with just go up to Fortress and stick with his game plan, or if he's going to do something cheeky and something non-standard and maybe adapt a little bit more to the gameplay. We do see Jerimuno actually so he did have a second Vil go forward, but that wasn't scouted by ageofkiller's Explorer, but it did get scouted by his pet macaque.
This Explorer is probably not going in the right direction in regards to the front base. So he's not gonna see it, I guess, but he can expect, because he has scouted this villager over here. So I honestly think that Breeze is right now, hey, okay, I know he's rushing, he's sent a forward villager, so why wouldn't he try to commit and sneak a villager around here or somewhere here? So I think he could expect this kind of a pressure from early H2. Meanwhile, Jerimuno is at him unstable, which is interesting that early on. He adds it with 700 wood. I guess it's okay. Usually I myself do prefer add it a bit later after 600 wood. But it's just a matter of preference.
Yeah, seeing Jerimuno build this stable, I think his next shipment is going to be, we see 8 Chukonu as ageofkiller's first shipment. Definitely going to repel those 5 musketeers, taking off 2 of them and getting a little bit of damage on the third, and just pushing that aggression back from Jerimuno. But what Breeze doesn't know is that Jerimuno does have that stable in the back. I think so. We saw the 600 wood as Jerimuno's third shipment. I actually kind of expected to see 700 coin there so he could fill out these Hussar batches, but we're not going to see that. Jerimuno was sitting on a pretty high stack of food, so yeah, I kind of would have liked to see 700 coin there, but at the end of the day, I don't think it matters terribly if Jerimuno is able to get a full batch of 5 Hussars, or if he's able to get 3 Hussars. As long as he's putting on a bit of pressure in ageofkiller's base, he won't mind having sending 600 wood and, of course, getting more manor houses up and bolstering his economy that way. What do you have?
And now ageofkiller is aging right now, and Jerimuno overall has a kind of a nice little bit timing, but I think this can be easily repelled if ageofkiller decides to call Minutemen from the town center, if he has the resources to do so, which he now has. But still, Jerimuno is going back. All right, he tries to play it safe in this regard. So let's see what next comes up. Either way, ageofkiller is aging, and once he has aged, the time is on Jerimuno. He committed to the H2, and he relies on outmassing his opponent and use of a better economy than the Chinese player. But China in H3 has better units, so the time is on Jerimuno.
Yeah, like you said, I think that was a good timing. Jerimuno pushed in around the 7-minute 20 mark, and that was a good timing, but he just didn't have enough units to really do anything that would kind of influence the way. Ooh, another nice raid. Jerimuno picking up 3 villagers so far, I think.
Yeah, this was very well played by Jerimuno in regards to raid. 3 villagers is 3 villagers. Why wouldn't you pick that up? He's been harassing with these Hussars and trying to idle a bit, and he killed villagers in the process, which is always good.
Yeah, when we mentioned the resources kind of being imbalanced for ageofkiller, excuse me, at the beginning of the match, I kind of think that clued in Jerimuno that he didn't have to play super aggressive, that he knew he could kind of go for a contain. So unlike where we saw, Jerimuno kind of prodding into Breeze's base at the 7-minute mark, he didn't really have to commit to a timing at that point. So instead we saw him raid a bit more, but now we're seeing an engagement at the 8-minute and 30-second mark. Jerimuno taking down
And
a lot of... Yep.
Breeze is actually holding this, in a way. This is surprising. Now his first shipment should pop up.
Yeah, Breeze is successfully in Age 3 now. He's killed off all of the Hussars, but lost all of his Chukonu. He also lost his ability to use Minutemen, and I'm not sure if he lost a villager or two in that engagement. But still, Jerimuno's entire military mass... Actually, there's still 7 Musketeers there. 6 now. But even still, like you said, with that shipment going to come in from ageofkiller soon, it's again on the onus of Jerimuno to... What is he going to do in Breeze's base?
Well,
right
the
here?
question now is, where's the Breeze shipment? It hasn't come yet, and... 10 Arquebusiers. I think that's too late, though. I honestly think it should have been there earlier.
Yeah, Jerimuno reinforcing his military with 6 Hussars here, as well as another batch of Musketeers. So these Arquebusiers are not going to get at all the value that they wanted to. I think he only killed 1 or 2 Musketeers before getting completely eaten up by these Hussars. And having lost that first shipment in Fortress Age, I think Breeze is going to be so behind here, it's really going to be difficult for him to come back.
Yeah, indeed. When you start losing shipments in China and you have no units, you are going to run out of steam at some point. And 10 Arquebusiers is a really good shipment for China to send. And to waste it like that, it lost its value and he lacks a shipment. Now another shipment is on the way. But when you keep sending shipments like that and not supporting with some sort of production from these barracks, the quantity of those units is so small that it doesn't even matter if they are better units.
Absolutely.
And you can see on Jerimuno's build order that now he's going even more quantity heavy while sending 6 longbows. He could have sent, for example, some coin crates or to mass even more, but he's even going 6 longbows at this point.
Yeah, instead of doing the 700 coin to be able to pump out more units, he just wants that immediate pressure that the 6 longbowmen offer, rather than having to wait for his unit batches to be queued, you know. But yeah, ageofkiller having so many of his villagers penned up in the TC, and with these hunts kind of being placed awkwardly, you can see there's this one hunt over there. So many of them are dead. There's nothing kind of securing them, no outpost. We do see the 11 Chengdao shipment. But against Jerimuno's...
as I said before, if they are alone, they are not gonna do anything. If they are with the Arquebusiers, they might do something, even though it still wouldn't be enough if you take into consideration that Jerimuno has so many Hussars and Musketeers to support. You can see those Chengdao melting because the cavalry has enough firepower to deal with it. And now Breeze is calling the GG.
Yeah,
because at this point he has nothing really to cope with, any resources or any military.
Yeah, so it's going to be a quick game 1 to Jerimuno. I don't think Breeze actually minds too much. It is going to give him the counter pick on the next map, which will be Hudson Bay. In Chinese, you know, not one of his main civilizations, so not being able to play it again until game 4 is not something that I think he minds a lot. But even still, you know, taking a loss is never an optimal thing. I don't think it's the worst thing for Breeze here to lose with his China in game 1. But yeah, I mean, there were a few mistakes that game.
I think that also mattered on matchup for some point, because the British overall seems to be a really good choice against China. You can either go aggressive like Jerimuno did, or you can even go H3 with the Virginia Company and not train much units at all in H2. The only downside to it is if you get really hardcore rushed by China, you might actually lose. But even then, if you go Virginia Company, you can still kind of build a wall with the manor houses. You have so much manor houses, and you can train some longbows and Minutemen to deal with the Stepper Riders.
Yeah, basically with the build order that Breeze went with, you know, Jerimuno went for that timing push as soon as he saw Breeze aging up. And while the trade kind of went even, in fact, you know, I think Breeze was able to kill more units than he lost in that engagement. Very quickly, Jerimuno was able to reinforce it, and Breeze having no units on the map, that first shipment of his being the 10 Arquebusiers, they just got slaughtered by those Hussars, and after that, you know, I think there wasn't a lot of a lot of windows or opportunities for him to come back. And so that'll be game 1 going to Jerimuno. The next map is going to be Hudson Bay going into game 2. This is a best of 5 series.
Yeah. The next map is going to be a Hudson Bay. And it's a water map, so I expect Breeze to do some water stuff over here. He's very well known for it.
Yeah, so the third map in the series is going to be High Plains. So, as a Breeze's counter pick, I think he's going to be kind of itching to go for his Portuguese. That's his main civilization, and especially on a water map is something he's keen to do.
I'm thinking about Portuguese as well at this point. But it depends what Jerimuno is going to pick. Portuguese might get countered by Japan, for instance.
Yeah, Jerimuno is actually very established with Japan. British are his main civilization, and he did lose them. I think. What do you think about British versus Portuguese?
British versus Portuguese. Well, the last time I played this matchup, I don't really know if the meta is really the same, but usually the British had the upper hand. They've just taken the map control, and in regards to water, they have a better. Well, not necessarily better, because with the Portuguese you have the town centers to serve as a super outposts. But in regards to water play, the British have more cards on warships, so their warships are much more better than the Portuguese player ones. So, if the sea is big, I guess the British wins. But early on, it's a real possibility that the Portuguese, for example, on this map, Hudson Bay, I think there's the two islands in the middle of the sea, and you can kind of make a dock, send schooners as the first card if you are planning on water play, and then you can use the fishing boat, like one fishing boat, to go over that island and load up the town center wagon and then build the town center there. Well, it's a bit awkward in regard that there are not many resources on these islands. So you basically train villagers where there are no resources that are all around. What matters is the strategic importance. It's basically a trade-off.
I think we might see some of that out of Breeze here. Basically, the Portuguese having so much in the way of just what they do in Age 2. With that town center wagon, the docks, being able to garrison villagers and then build them. Breeze being a little bit pushy. Anyway, I'll skip that thought, and we'll go into Game 2. This is going to be a part of the Autumn 2018 Second Chance Tournament. This is a part of the quarterfinals. It's a best of 5 between Jerimuno and Ageofkiller. Jerimuno is leading the series 1-0. And I actually didn't get to speak on Jerimuno's history. His player background in the first game. So I think I'll do that now. So Jerimuno is actually going to be seed number 5 in this second chance tournament. He's taking Japan in the color blue on the west side of the map, if I'm not mistaken. Is it west or east? It's actually the east side of the map. Breeze is going to be playing as Portuguese in the color yellow. Map is Hudson Bay. But anyway, back to Jerimuno. He's seed number 5 in the tournament. He's a player from Austria, and he's actually not a novice when it comes to second chance tournaments. He actually got second place in the last second chance tournament we held. He lost to Optimus Prime in the finals. But he also got 4th place in the Spring 2017 Second Chance Tournament. So like I said, he is not a stranger to going deep in these tournaments. And leading the Series 1-0 right now, I would not say... while Ageofkiller, players know him a bit more and he's a bit higher rank, Jerimuno is certainly not out for the count. As you're saying?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Jerimuno has won this series.
Already?
Well. Either way, both of the players are very good, I would say, and let's see.
Yeah, absolutely.
The hunt seemed fine. Maybe the Japanese player has some sort of disadvantages. This one is a little bit further away, but it's Japan, right? It's Japan.
Yes,
the Japanese don't really gather food from hunts, the usual hunts, like. So.
Yeah,
It
like you
doesn't really
said,
matter that much if one hunt is more further away than the opponent's ones, which is playing a European civ.
yeah, the Portuguese player is going to have more hunts in base here, but I think because Jerimuno spawned with all of the hunts that he should, he has this one over here, the two to the north, in fact, exact same as Breeze has. So it doesn't really matter if they're close to the TC or if they're hurtable to the TC because they're going to be in safe locations no matter what. So if Jerimuno wants to build shrines on those, it's not a problem. So luckily we're kind of a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit
not.
fortunate with the matchup here. But even still, I think these are sufficient hunts, even if Jerimuno were like a food-heavy civilization. I think they're in safe enough positions to where, even though they aren't like the closest to the town center, they're still hurtable, they're still protectable. Um, but yeah. Anything good with the treasures so far?
The Jerimuno has so far picked up 60 wood, 40 wood, so that means 100 wood in total. And ageofkiller balanced it out with 100 wood treasure of his own. Now Jerimuno picks up a number of 60 wood. That's actually a lot, 160 wood for Japan in age 1. Look at this, he has 3 shrines already. Wow.
Yeah, that's insane. I don't know if all of that came from just the wood treasures, but I think he at least had to gather a little bit extra in order to get.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I think he gathered a little bit extra more, which is definitely worth it in this case. More shrines early on, the better economy you will have later and sooner. Well, sooner or later. But the sooner you have, the better economy from those shrines,
Yeah,
which is always a good thing.
I think I might have
Because
missed.
Japan.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, and here we go. Breeze and his dogs. Well, one interesting thing about this spawn is that it's an ice spawn, which is overall known not to be that great as the summer one, because you have the less water. This is normally water. If you see, it's just partly frozen, and you cannot build wall segments over there. I think you are not able to construct anything on this kind of landscape, but only the docks. Yeah. So this is actually interesting. He will not be able to wall if he wants to make walls this part of the map. So that could allow Jerimuno to put the pressure on land, on the docks straight away, without a fear that there's a wall blocking it. But on the other side, the Breeze can just pop up caravels or frigates in order to deal with the land units.
Yeah, I think Breeze
The
kind of
interesting
recognizing that the water isn't going to be the most defensible thing for him. Basically the most defensive position he could put his town center in to kind of defend the coast would be right there, and even then, it's not getting great range on potential warships. So instead, he's kind of adapting and going for a very aggressive town center placement. Maybe, of course he's sent schooners and he's got 2 docks up, so he's definitely going to be booming in the back of this, but I would be surprised. Maybe he's kind of planning for an Age 2 timing, or at least some more aggressive play in Fortress Age rather than committing to like a super long game plan like Kainisi likes to do.
Well, the question is, if the super long game is really that beneficial for him. I guess if he can do some damage on these shrines and secure the map, secure his side of the map, in regards to shrining, so he can kill all of these shrines, then the Japan player will be kind of a stuck. Now, this town center has completely control over this hunt. It is next to the TP line, and meanwhile, Breeze is now building more trading posts. So I guess he even wants to go stagecoach with this water boom behind, and now he's doing 3 docks. Wow. I think it's a little bit overkill in regards to docks, because also the schooners are not only lowers the cost by 20 wood on the fishing boats, but it also shortens the training time by 40%.
Yeah, so after I think
By 40%.
yeah, so these fishing boats each are going to cost 50 wood. Now that he has 3 docks, these fishing boats are also going to be training in 15 seconds. So every 15 seconds, to utilize all 3 of these docks, he's going to be needing to pump 150 wood per cycle. And I think that's
and
kind
he's
of...
not really able to on.
Yeah,
Even with these wood crates, yes, and he will eventually run out. But it gives a good tempo boost. But eventually, the only fishing boats in the end that will survive, if we can expect a long game, there are 4 whales, so 16 boats max. So every boat you make after when you reach the 16 boat cap will have to die eventually because they will be useless and they will be taking pop space. But in the meanwhile, it's a trade-off for having more resources early on to work with. You can see that on economic unit population, how the big difference is. Well, if we take account and recalculate it, also we need to count these shrines. But in regards to villagers like themselves, he's up by quite a bit.
You mean Breeze? I would actually say, like, I think these economies are very similar, especially kind of considering that ageofkiller Breeze, he's committed fully to this economic build order, and you see, like, there's only a 5 villager difference. Given Breeze has more upgrades, you know, he has the 10% fishing upgrade from the dock, as well he sent the 30% fishing upgrade from the home city as his 4th shipment. But looking
but
at
does it really count in recalculated economic population, these upgrades? I don't think they do. But eventually, Breeze is in the lead. In regards to economy. Now, this is interesting. Jerimuno is going... Well, he's not really going that aggressive in regards to shipments. He sent a forward barracks, but overall... he built a forward barracks, but in the meantime, he's been sending 4 villages twice. Which you can do as Japan. You can send most of the shipments twice. And if we take a look about what's happening on land, I don't really think that Breeze is in a really good position in regards to land. Of course, he has this water economy in his bag, but is it really enough?
Yeah, so
that's the question.
The 5th shipment for Bree is going to be a Colonial Militia, which is going to buff his town center attack. But even still, you know, this town center being defenseless all by its own, it's still going to be able to be taken down by these Ashigaru. Bree is having... I don't know if he has a barracks on the map. No. So he lost his only unit production facility, or military unit production facility. He doesn't have another one. He has some idle villagers. He's kind of hurting. We see 15 population. Ooh, you have the Colonial Militia.
Yeah, that's what he needed in a way, but he wasted quite a lot of resources.
Yeah, that Colonial Militia is 800 resources. It's 400 food and 400 coin. And so while it's going to delay Jerimuno a little bit, you know, it might net ageofkiller like maybe about 45 seconds worth of breathing room. Ooh, Bree's going up with the cheeky wall. Yeah, I like that a lot.
I guess we already know what the purpose of the Colonial Militia was really, in the end.
Yeah, it was to buy Bree some more time.
He's playing for time. He knows he's playing for time. The longer the game goes with his fishing upgrades and with his fishing boats, in a better position economically he is. Now the question is, how does he deal with these Ashigarus? He cannot go with crossbows forever. He needs to age up for the skirmishes. Yeah, the only reasonable way which he could possibly kill Ashigarus with the Portuguese, because the crossbows, they are slower than Ashigarus, and they still are not one of the best counters to heavy infantry like Ashigarus. But eventually, the Japanese musketeers have the better speed, so it's really awkward, I would say, to guide them, to hit and run.
Breeze was saving for the age up, and he's about halfway through, but that 8 Expoman shipment just getting slaughtered. I think he only killed maybe 1 or 2 of the Ashigaru. He's gonna, you know, they got close to the town center, so he's actually gonna be able to pick off a few more with his Colonial Militia shipment upgrade as well. But
it's actually a bit interesting thing that Jerimuno did kind of go back with these Ashigarus. Imagine if he stayed and sieged, if he did expect in a way that Breeze is going to age up. That will cost him a town center. Now I'm not so sure. This town center is definitely going to go up. These Ashigarus are too far away to punish it. Meanwhile, Jerimuno, maybe he went back because of this. He's aging himself. So in the end, I guess it's fine. Meanwhile, this town center is gonna definitely go down because the colonial militias have been used, and there's not much more time to deal with it, to deal with these Ashigaru's mass.
Yeah.
So let's see what Breeze has.
Yeah, taking a look at Breeze Brothers' resource stack. So he doesn't have any unit production facilities, but you know he's got a bunch of food. He's got a bunch of coin. Maybe he's actually planning on going to the industrial age. He's actually laying down the foundations for... Yeah, he's got the foundation for a barracks and a stable now. So maybe he's just going to pump those resources into Age 3 units so that he can kind of hold what Jerimuno has on the map instead of maybe risking just being a little bit too greedy and dying in the age up to Industrial. We'll have to see. Once they go up, we'll know if he's had units in queue and if that's kind of the game plan that he's going to commit to. Building a third town center as well, all very closely aligned together so that he can kind of, if his base is under siege, he kind of maximizes the colonial militia damage that he can do from his town centers.
Look at these walls. Oh, Breeze.
It does seem like
they have gaps, so Breeze, he can just walk straight in. Well,
Breeze is actually going to commit to the industrial age up.
Oh yeah, he's aging. I don't know if he can really deal with these Ashigarus, especially now they are getting upgraded. And with the Wonder Up, they are really strong. Forced to be reckoned with. They are not H2 anymore, they are H3 with the Veterancy upgrade, and they also have a card upgrade and the Wonder upgrade. The thing about Japan's units is that their upgrades do stack a lot. So if you take into account the base stats, it's not so quite interesting in regards to cost and the result of these musketeers. But when you get the upgrades going, this is the time where they really shine, especially in H4 as well. When you send when you upgrade them to guards, and you also send the upgrade, which he has in deck, close combat, which increases their hit points, and they get extra multiplier against cavalry.
Yeah, but anyway, these town centers being in such a defensible position, I think the window for Jerimuno to push in is kind of just slipping away. Once Breeze is up to the industrial, he's actually going to have another town center wagon. So he's like, his defensive posturing is like just incredible right now. It's actually very hard for Jerimuno to push in without any artillery. Even with this massive, like maybe 30 to 35 Ashigaru, he might be able to get down a TC, but not first without taking massive losses. He's actually...
If the big Minuteman pops right now, he's being completely trapped. He's being completely trapped, but they are not popping up. And this town center might go down. Now the big Minutemen have been popped. So maybe he tries to siege it, but he might lose his Ashigarus over here. Let's see. Did you see this Ashigaru trapped in the town center?
Yeah, you have to keep in mind there were like 30 to... Oh my. There were like 30 to 35 Ashigaru there, and he's only pulling away with 10. And for what? I mean, I think he killed a few Dragoons, he killed 2 Organ guns. I mean, he's idled these TCs a lot, but Breeze doesn't really care when he has a massive ship economy.
He really needs artillery. He might even need to age up himself to follow up with the Morotaurus. I don't know if he can really break this. The colonial militia is in play, and they can just snipe these flaming arrows. Now, if we look at the Breeze deck, he has 2 heavy cannons. These 2 heavy cannons do a lot of damage, trust me. They do a lot of damage, especially to infantry. And these flaming arrows aren't so great against heavy cannons as well. So, look at it. That was a poor volley.
Yeah, not the best volley there, but even still, I don't know if Jerimuno is going to be able to close the distance in time, and even if he is able to, there's still another colonial militia batch that... Look at that.
Colonial militia going in, more Dragoons!
Every single one of these Ashigaru is going to die. And Breeze still has every single one of his town centers.
He killed 1 cannon, at least. Okay, you didn't expect this coming, but all right. So in the end, let's get back to the game. In the end, Breeze did a really good job at holding this push, and now what is Jerimuno going to do? He's not even close to aging up himself. He relies on H3 play, and look at this water economy from the Breeze. And look at this water economy from the Breeze brothers. He has factories in deck. He has the Dragoon card, which if you send it, they outrange the Ashigaru Musketeers, and also you can get the Arsenal upgrade. But now he did send a factory, which is a reasonable thing to do, in my opinion. And he might also get more heavy cannons from these factories. In a way, I would like him to see that. I would like to see that, because he's got plenty of economy underwater. I think he knows that he's ahead by quite a lot. If you see the recalculated economic unit population, Breeze is really in the upper hand in regards to this. And now he starts to build even mills. All right, Jerimuno decided to age.
Yeah, so Jerimuno, his aggression in Age 3 kind of failed very hard, losing every single one of his military units in that push against Breeze. His 4 town centers, his heavy cannons. He lost everything, so he kind of has to go with something risky, I guess. He's got to go up to the industrial age himself, maybe try to suss it out from there, but even still, having lost all of his military units.
And he's researching the mass production upgrade for the cannons. He's going heavy cannons for sure, and this is gonna be a massacre on these Ashigarus. On the other hand, if you look at Japan, their counters to artillery are either Yabuseims or the flaming arrows, or maybe the daimyos if they can sneak their way up, especially with the Tokugawa, which is basically which is a tank. He has so much HP and so much attack, so he can swing two times with his foot and the cannon is down. But
yeah, Shogun Tokugawa, if that's going to be Jerimuno's first shipment, which I think it should be, is definitely one of Industrial Age Japan's strongest anti-artillery, being able, like you said, to take them down in just 2 hits. Especially against these heavy cannons, they have so much HP, I think it might even take like 3 hits. They're going to definitely be difficult for Jerimuno.
But look at that. Just look at that. Just one heavy cannon can just scare this off. With the Dragoons being in place as well. Now, ageofkiller is probably going to research Jeanette, the upgrade for the Dragoons in Age 4. And I expect his next shipment to be Janitors, which increase the ranges of the Dragoons. Now 4 flaming arrows coming in. Yes, I would say this is the only kind of a moment when Japan has a lot of anti-artillery and artillery at the same time. But if 2 more heavy cannons are gonna pop out of these factories, it's not gonna be enough in the end. Oh, look at that. I just love the heavy cannon shooting the wallies.
We do see the 4 flaming arrow. Yeah, they're gonna take down that heavy cannon there. Nice snipe.
But now another two are in place right now. So it's not really something. Yeah, it's always good to take down the heavy cannon for free. But now look at this. Those Ashigarus are in this deadly. Well, I can't really call it a square, but let's call it a square anyway. Of these town centers with the colonial militia upgrade card. Although Breeze is wasting 1 heavy cannon, I think, for no reason, but there's still 1 heavy cannon in the back, and he can still do something about it. And meanwhile, the colonial militia have been popped on the other side, and they are trying to take down these flaming arrows, which is actually a really nice pop for Breeze to have. Because these flaming arrows are only anti-possible heavy cannon they have. He might have to ship another 4 flaming arrows sooner or later in order to deal with these heavy cannons. As I expected, the next card for Breeze was the Janitors. So his Dragoons are literally outranging the Ashigaru Musketeers by 6 range. And another 4 flaming arrows coming in. This is kind of the timing I was talking about when Japan has got a lot of flaming arrows to try to deal with enemies' artillery. Although maybe we could see some culverins for Breeze. That would be really good for him to do so, because these culverins can just snipe these flaming arrows and basically
especially
denying...
with the Dragoons coming in here. Sniping the
Daimyo is down.
Just like that.
Oh. Yeah, also we might see some monitors, maybe? After all, Breeze is an H4, but although the range of... Yeah, here's one. Although the question is, can they really reach this? I don't think so. The range of the monitors have been nerfed on the ESOC patch.
They might
but
be able
meanwhile,
to. But yeah, I think what's important is what's going on in Age of Killer's base right now. So while, Breeze was able to mount like a very convincing defense earlier, I think Jerimuno with these flaming arrows, it's kind of what he needs to... Wow.
That's really painful.
The flaming arrows actually not being upgraded to guard status, so they don't actually have a multiplier against other artillery. So while Jerimuno was able to kill every single one of these heavy cannons, I think, yep, every single one of the heavy cannons going down, he lost all of his flaming arrows himself. And while I thought, he was in a reasonably good position there, losing the artillery is just kind of give him no siege potential when he has to engage with these higher range dragoons. They're more upgraded. In fact, they're coming in with the dragoon combat upgrade just now. So these are max stat dragoons. They're as strong as they get in the industrial age. They can't be any stronger. Whereas Jerimuno, he still has a ways to go if he wants to fully upgrade his Ashigaru.
Not the biggest problem for Japan is how to deal with heavy cannons now. I don't see a way for the Japanese player to actually deal with them. If Age of Killer has dragoons in behind or in front of these heavy cannons. Also, if Age of Killer mixes some culverins, there's no way flaming arrows are gonna kill even in H4 these heavy cannons. There's just no way. The only thing he might hope for is to just go full Yabu Same and suicide it. But after that, what he will have for the defense of his base? Nothing.
Yeah, I just don't think Jerimuno has the economy that gives him a lot of options. If he were like fully ecoed out, maybe he would have the opportunity to get like guard Yumis, and that would be his counter to the dragoons, and then he could have upgraded flaming arrows. But Jerimuno sitting almost 40 villagers behind in terms of the recalculated economic unit population, kind of having to commit to these Ashigaru, and without having he does have a castle up, but he doesn't have any more of the flaming arrow shipments available to him besides another 2 flaming arrow batch from the Fortress Age.
As we can see, he has built a castle, and I would maybe call it now a desperate chance to counter these heavy cannons, because he cannot counter them with infantry. Really. Even if it's Japanese infantry, it's still not gonna beat those heavy cannons. And the longer the time goes, the more heavy cannons are joining the field. And he's aware of that. He wants to push with 4 heavy cannons for sure. And meanwhile, also, he might try to, if Jerimuno tries to push with a lot of flaming arrows, he might try to force a battle on the coast and then try to snipe these flaming arrows with his monitors, which would be a crucial thing to do. And also, this wall is now blocking the pathing of these Ashigarus. What can he do, really? That's the question.
Yeah, Breeze taking good control of the map. He's got the sea. He's got most of this middle part of the map locked up, now building a town center, which is going to establish even more control. He might even be able to pop another batch of colonial militia, Minutemen, anything he wants to do, having also this wall up there. It's just such a defensible position for him. It's going to be so difficult for Jerimuno to push out. And in addition to that, being behind on economy.
And now comes the part when Breeze is just running units to his base and trying... maybe in order to idle him, or maybe he just wanted to stop so he can take use of his monitor over here.
Oh,
he might try to snipe the right bodies or something. Still better than doing nothing with them.
Yeah, that's an important point you mentioned. I think those five Casadores, while maybe not the best managed, at the end of the day, they still get line of sight of where Jerimuno's buildings are, so they do enable that monitor to use its special attack and siege them down.
Still H3, but they are getting upgraded. He trained them, then tried to upgrade them, and meanwhile, I liked really much what Breeze is doing right now. He's just trying to run units to his base, idle him, force Jerimuno. Oh, he's not going for it. He's not going back. So, in this situation, he cannot really base trade, because the mobility and the siege capabilities of the Age of Killer's army are bigger with these heavy cannons. So yeah, he's forced to go back. But these flaming arrows, are they really capable of dealing with these heavy cannons and those dragoons?
You know,
We might
now,
just see a massive body from Age of Killer.
now being upgraded to the guard status, these flaming arrows are going to get a multiplier against the heavy cannons, but even still, they have the same range as the heavy cannons. They're both equal on range, and these heavy cannons just do such massive damage that they might just be able to snipe each other down. Something else Jerimuno has to look out for is that the goons don't snipe, so he's going in with his Ashigaru here, but still losing so many of them. That's
He lost the battle, probably. But he's still winning the war. That's important
absolutely
for him right now. So he's retreating back to his base. And I'm thinking he should really make some culverines in order to secure this.
Yeah, so while Age of Killer did lose all of his...
Yeah, he lost all of his heavy cannons. Some goons are just shattered and they're going to retreat. But well, look at this, another heavy cannons, another badge. So he's just basically spamming cannons at this point because he has the economy to do so, because he can. Yeah, I would really like to see him mix some culverins, upgrade them in order to secure the next battle. He can still lose the next battle, but after all, he can afford to. Jerimuno cannot afford to lose a battle, because otherwise his economy is exposed, his production facilities. He cannot really answer to an army standing in his base. He cannot really remass that quickly. Whilst Age of Killer can, even if the army was at his base, he's still having these walls at least for some protection. He has these town centers. He still has time. The more heavy cannons coming in, and meanwhile the battle is taking place. Look at these mollies. The monitor, he tried to force the battle on the coast, which he did right now. The monitors is sniping the flaming arrows as well, which is really nice. Oh wow, he's sacking the heavy cannons, I guess. The flaming arrows are down now. The polar bears have joined the battle as well. I guess they were I guess they were not so happy about people around shooting around them with cannons and muskets. So they just said enough.
Yeah, that was actually about the best engagement Jerimuno could have asked for. He took down 2 monitors, he took down 4 heavy cannons for the price of, I think, 7 flaming arrows. So again, going about even, forcing away the Dragoon mass. You know, I don't like to be too negative, but even still, I think Age of Killer just has it locked down here. He's sitting on 6,000 food, but no coin, so he doesn't actually have the ability to really go up to the Imperial Age. But if he just redistributes his economy, you know, I think from this point, Breeze can just kind of play on.
Right now, he's making 6,000 food. Wow.
Yeah, Breeze can just kind of play on autopilot and still win the game. He's just so far ahead. Even losing these military engagements, pretty much every military engagement we've seen out of Age of Killer's base, is one that Age of Killer has lost.
Yeah, and now these Ashigarus are getting trapped. They are gonna die eventually, and that means more resources for Jerimuno to spend on military. Because if he has no military, he's just gonna lose everything. So he lost the battle over there. He traded decently. He killed those heavy cannons, but in the end he lost his units in regards to cost efficiency. But in regards to the war, to the game, it's a pretty bad spot. Now, if we can see, he's now building counter wall. Yeah, well, this will be interesting if he can manage to get his up. Ah, here's Iron. That's a good game, but
Yeah,
after the H3 failure of Jerimuno in order to punish the C, the superior units of Ageofkiller in regards to cannons and artillery at one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think after Jerimuno, so I'm gonna look at the post-game stats. Let me see that military graph. Yeah, so at the 13-minute mark, Jerimuno was sitting with 67 military unit population. Ageofkiller had just hit up, but you can see that 67 becomes 38 real quick. Losing, I think that was when he lost all of his Ashigarus at that engagement. He was able to repopulate it a little bit, but engaging that mass again, I think that big unit spike for Breeze is when those heavy cannons came in, and at that point, you know, Ageofkiller was ahead on economy, he was ahead on military, he was ahead on map, he had full control over the sea, and it was difficult from Jerimuno to win from that point. But I think maintaining, you know, kind of role playing as the Japanese, maintaining that Japanese warrior ethos of never giving up. You know, he extended out the game for another 15 minutes and gave it his best shot. We have to give him credit, but it not being enough. And that'll be game 2 going to Breeze, Ageofkiller. And that'll tie up the series.
Jerimuno have tried, but in the end, it didn't matter that much. So, but overall, it was a really interesting game to watch.
Yeah, you especially have to consider like the Hudson spawning on the ice variant. That was actually really favorable for the Japanese player. You know, of course, Breeze not being able to utilize the islands that would normally spawn in the summer version, as well not being able to wall up along the coast or build outposts or town centers. There was a lot that went into that influences that matchup by the winter spawn. You know, Jerimuno losing that one, I don't think he's too happy about that.
Yeah, he wasn't too happy about that for sure.
I think he still kind of had a cheeky energy, but at least in regards to the way this matchup is going to play out, I think this could be kind of the turning point for Ageofkiller, despite that kind of grisly game 1.
There's no hosting game in process. No, Ageofkiller have hosted the game. So Hudson Bay, and next map is going to be High Plains. Followed up by Alaska and Kamchatka. These are interesting maps. One of them is a water map, Alaska. We might actually see Jerimuno winning on the High Plains, maybe. The next game is going to be deciding, I think.
Yeah, certainly.
Overall,
I think
that Ageofkiller overall performs better on water than Jerimuno. And in my eyes, he's expected to win on water, if you take water into account. But on the land maps, Jerimuno, as we have seen in game 1, has a really good shot of beating Ageofkiller on land maps.
Yeah, I especially think, you know, looking at Breeze's civ pool, it is quite diverse, but I don't really know what he's going to pick on High Plains. He's actually going to have to luck his civilization first. I might expect Russia, even though they aren't like necessarily the best pick on that map. Usually what we see players doing is going with like Spain, Ottoman, Portuguese. Ageofkillers, of course, can't play Portuguese, but he could play something like Ottoman or Spain. Those are civs that send ATP and take control of the trade line early. So I would put it past Breeze to maybe go with Ottoman here. I know that Russia is kind of like his second best civilization after Portuguese. He also plays Japan and India, but, you know, it's a toss-up. I think he could go with Russia, Ottoman, or India as his lock on High Plains.
Russia.
And I think depending on what
Ru-
Breeze chooses to lock, I'm pretty confident that Jerimuno will go with
Russia,
something like India on High Plains as his counter pick.
if you talk about Russia on high plains, it's an interesting pick. However, Russia mostly relies on having the control of the map. Although on high plains, there are most of the resources heritable. You have two base mines as well. It's really easy to break Russia once you are H3. In general, most of the time it works out like this, unless you do a very big, very big mistake. If you play a strong H3 Civ like France or Germany, you can break Russia kind of easily. Even the British do well, I think. We shall see. We shall see. It's gonna be interesting.
So I think Breeze kind of forgot that he banned Grand Chaco in the series, and I just double checked that, and indeed, he made a post on the forum about 5 days ago. When was 5 days ago? I think that was on Tuesday. On Tuesday, he banned Grand Chaco, so he's not going to be able to ban High Plains. Not in the middle of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grand Chaco I think would have been the map before Hudson Bay, and we just played Hudson Bay, so there's, I mean, as soon as we go into game one, you know, you can't change your Civ ban, but it's still kind of funny.
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a misunderstanding, but in the end, he indeed banned Grand Chaco, so he has to play on high plains. Hey, let me double check again. Yeah, he said 5 days ago, I can play today. I went to Grand Chaco. He did say that.
Yeah, anyway, what we have later for this evening, you know, the series is currently tied up to 1-1.
Later this evening, I think we have the only Bows versus Conqueror and 922, I think.
Yep, so we'll have an interview with Lucas at 20:30 GMT, or whenever this match ends, and then after that, like you said, Beauty, we're going to have The Only Boss versus Conquer 999 at 22 GMT. And of course, tomorrow, Sunday, October 28th, beginning at 15 GMT, is going to be the grand finals of the Autumn Championship 2018. That'll be a match between Snow and Kainisi.
It's gonna be big.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
excited
think.
for it.
Yeah, that'll be seed number 9 versus seed number 10. I know Kaiser was complaining a lot about the seeding, but you can't really complain about it. I think everybody who won was kind of deserving of their win, so I'm glad to see you know, something a bit of a shakeup. You know, a lot of people were expecting maybe a Kaiser versus Lord Raphael finals, but we're getting something very, very different, not what people expected.
I did in the beginning. I expected Kaiser versus Lord Raphael as well, personally, but the results turned out to be quite different. So either way, it's gonna be a really interesting series to watch. So make sure you tune in, everybody. And they do play for, I think, $1,000.
It'll be $800 to the winner, and then $400 to second place. So $1,200 up for grabs in this match.
Yeah.
And earlier on Thursday, we did see Lord Raphael versus Hazza. I don't think I'll spoil the series on stream, but it was a 4-1 result, and we did get our third place. I guess I'm not going to spoil it. I've already committed to not spoiling it, so I'm not going to say who won the bronze match. But that was completed on Thursday, so you can look back in the VODs of the Twitch channel and see there what went on. I think Breeze is just, I'm not gonna give it any of my admin bias, but I am kind of, I would be excited to see him move on to the semifinals just because he's such a funny player.
All right, he approved my greening up. Okay, it was a mistake by me. I usually it's just the autopilot that I just see a game and I green up. I apologize for that. It's yes, don't forget to record the game as well. So what we will see. Personally, on this map, the Portuguese could be a very interesting pick, but Breeze is not going to pick Portuguese because he played it previous game and he's not allowed to do so. But also Spain. Spain is a really good ATP civilization. Overall, this map is really good and very well designed for ATPs, advanced trading post.
Yeah,
So
I wonder maybe he goes with like something like Russia with ATP. That's not a standard build order with Russia, but I don't think Breeze has
not,
actually ever played a game of Spain in his life. So
Russia could be an interesting pick, but if he tries to play standard and plays against strong Fortress H saves, I don't know if it's the best pick, but he goes France.
yeah, I actually wasn't expecting that.
I was expecting something like Spain or the Ottomans.
I would have expected Ottomans or Russia, maybe India. India is not something I think Breeze is too comfortable with, but maybe even Japan. I don't think they're necessarily bad on high plains. Not the best civilization pick, but after all, the civs are going to reset after this, so he could play Japan twice if that were something he wanted to do. But Jerimuno going to counter pick with Germany.
This is kind of one of the most standard matchups. France versus Germany. Interesting to see if they are gonna both do the standard thing like semi-effective calves. It could be interesting to some point, but I personally would like to see something else. Maybe we might see some H2 agendas from Jerimuno or ageofkiller. Possibly from ageofkiller because French colonial in the longer run seems to be better, I would say, because you have musketeers.
Yeah, like you mentioned, ooh, we did get a donation. I'll see who that is right now, but we just went into the game. It's loading. I can't tab out. I might miss it. Anyway, Jerimuno, I would expect him to be a little bit more inclined to go with colonial play. Since Doppelsodners have been buffed in EP, they went up from 230 hit points to 240. But first, I'm gonna check the hunts real quick. Do you want to introduce the players?
I'll leave that up to you, I guess. I think I should check the hunts right now
Okay, sure
and the
thing.
mines, just if the balance of the map is in good shape for the players. But overall, as we can see, the hunt seems to be kind of equally distributed. Oh no, actually, maybe not.
Ooh, okay. I think my game just crashed. I apologize for that. Oh dear. Okay, well I'm just gonna boot up again. Did it, like, what's going on in the game right now?
I think we are gonna have to restart because the hunts are.
Oh my.
I think Jerimuno misses a hunt, honestly.
My game actually completely crashed, so we would need to restart no matter what. But uh,
Yeah, we would have to restart.
I
But even
don't know
then,
what happened there.
He missed a hunt. Jerimuno has missed a hunt, so.
Yikes. Alright, so just temporarily while I'm fixing these technical issues, I'm going to throw up the overlay and mute the stream. And we'll be back in just a bit. I apologize for this, but yep. Okay, and we're back. We're live. Beauty, everybody can hear you and me in your sexy voice. And we should be ready to go into Game 3 of this match.
Game 3 on the series between ageofkiller and Jerimuno. We have it on High Plains, the France versus Germany, one of those standard matchups, and as we said before, most of it goes like semi-FR cav. But maybe we would see some H2 play. I would really like to see it, but maybe a tower rush. I don't think that should quite work, but it will be fun to watch. Where's my coin treasure? What?
He's taking his customary 2 minutes to green up. But this will be what we'll be starting. This will be Game 3 in a best of 5 series between ageofkiller, otherwise known as Breeze Brothers, and Jerimuno as part of the Second Chance Tournament 2018. Lost my train of thought. Yep, completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, it'll be Ageofkiller in the color orange, playing as the France. He was the first to lock his civilization in this match. He'll be spawning on the south side of the map. And in the color red, we're going to have Jerimuno playing as Germany, the north side.
Alright, so this time we have it other way around. In regards to spawns of the TCs and the players, let's see the hunts. The hunts overall seem fair. Yeah, they seem pretty fair. Maybe. Well, the third hunt is in the front, and then it's in the side. It's fine.
Yep, so I see 33 huntables for Jerimuno. And let me check for Ageofkiller.
I think we are good to go. Yep.
Yep, it seems perfectly even.
Yeah, it seems perfectly even.
And then there's a
resources.
There's a fourth hunt for both players that's reasonably, just hurtable for the town center. So we're all keen here.
So both of these players have picked up their coin treasure in base, and they are started with, both of them started with the market. It has been a coin start. So that helps them to get their hunting dogs faster. The usual tag, which you get with the coin start with most of the civs, enable the market. And as we can see in tags being researched, both of them do research hunting dogs this time. Even though Jerimuno, the German player, has been a few seconds faster. It doesn't really matter though. Maybe with the market now, he's trying to pick the 70 coin treasure, which is actually nice. Which is actually a nice pick, especially if you have the market.
Yeah, Jerimuno, I don't think the market build order is something that's super common with Germany, but, getting those treasures, and I think he might have started on 200 wood. So all he would have had to gather to get that upgrade would have been like 50 wood, and that definitely doesn't slow his colonial age up time by that much. So it's a very nice pickup for him.
They both of them started with coin treasures, so he just gathered some wood and coin and picked up the treasure in his base. Let me see. Jerimuno has picked 40 coin. Yeah, that's perfectly fine, especially if you get the small coin treasure. So you won't get yourself delayed that much in the hunting dogs or the game pays itself off. The more villages you have, gathering on fruit, of course. So, as we speak, there's been a little bit of contention over the map a bit. The Jerimuno has been forced to go back a little, just because he has been on lower HP and he didn't want to tank much of the damage from the enemy explorer. But overall, the treasures seem to be, and the contention, not existent yet, but there we go.
Ooh.
First treasure contention, over 60 foot. Who's going to pick it? It's going to be Jerimuno. Now, I would like to see the French player snaring the German explorer instead. Yeah. Instead of trying to pick it up late. What? Oh, yeah, it lagged. Yeah.
There was
it lagged a bit.
There was some weird lag.
I guess
there.
that's. Yeah. I guess it was a lag spike. And in regards to that, Jerimuno is getting snared.
Yeah, it is really awkward for the German player to have to deal with this. They only get one scouting unit in Age 2, so they have to be very careful about keeping their explorer high hit points, whereas, the French player kind of has more leeway with what he wants to do, because you can always have that native scout come in and help him punch down the enemy explorer. Unfortunately,
and look at that.
Yeah.
The German player doesn't have enough wood for a training post yet, and he's researching attack. Okay, he's giving it up. He shot the Guardians, but even then, he got killed by an orange player.
Yeah, so basically the reason Jerimuno... The reason Jerimuno shot that treasure guardian was so that there was the potential that Gaia or Mother Nature would kill his explorer, and instead of Bree's brothers getting rewarded the 45 experience points, the treasure guardians would have got it, and of course they're not a player, so it's more beneficial. It kind of just prevents the French player from getting that additional XP for their shipments. But of course Breeze was still able to get off the last shot and get the XP for that.
From his reaction, I guess he didn't really expect to get that XP. But it's still good, 45 XP. And France relies on the shipments quite a lot. Not as much as Germany, I would say, but still. France overall is a very good H3 civ, or semi-FF civ. And even their colonial is decent. So let's see what he has in mind and what he's gonna play. So right now, you can see that both players are going for a stable. Which might indicate it's not really that forward. It's just if you look at the building placement, I guess he's just wanting to build some sort of a wall. In a way, it's not really like being tied to each other. So of course there are big gaps, but still he gets the line of sight in forward. And from what can you see at Jerimuno's building placement is that he basically put on the wall with the stable and the house, and the houses. We have the coin mine, which is eventually going to get depleted, but for the start of the game, it's always nice to place your buildings like that in order to prevent some straight-up raids coming from this direction into here. It blocks the cavalry. On the other side of the note, if the cav raids, which we speak about right now because we might see them a lot, because both of the players stay at cav. In regards to that, Breeze has houses over here, so he might see raids coming from here. It's kind of a trade-off, I would say, because the German player can straight up walk into his base directly.
Yeah, so Jerimuno, while his explorer died and he wasn't able to get that trade post, very keenly getting that XP treasure.
He's gonna die again. These two Yulan just came there just to revive him, and he's just gonna die. That's a sad thing to see. And now if we look at the stats of the Yulans, the Hussars don't really overkill them. So they are very weak against Hussars.
Yeah, having
Overall, on ESOC patch, if you didn't know, the Yulan HP has been nerfed. In regards to cavalry wars, especially against Hussars, they are weaker than ever. Because the Hussars just take straight 6 swings on them, and they die. That means the lesser the damage, they output to the Hussars as well. So you need, like, I guess 8 or 9 Yuhans to kill 5 Hussars or something. It's really big of a difference. And I still don't even think he could take this fight. Maybe with Minutemen.
I think given this position, Jerimuno is actually in a very nice position. He might be able to split off 2 Yulins and even trap the French cavalry around this bend, but it doesn't seem... Ooh, yep, he is going to try to do that.
He's going to try to do that, but right now the ageofkiller can just kill this. Maybe. It depends.
So he's going to catch up to them and snare down that one, snare down the whole batch. And I get some nice shots off before...
I guess this mass of Yuhans in the end, I guess, wins, but...
We'll have to see how this engagement goes.
There are probably too many of them, but look at how faster they drop than the Hussars. In regards to first seconds of the engagement, when the Hussars have been... If there was like 3 more Hussars, not so quite sure.
Yeah, so ageofkiller lost...
Hussars coming.
He lost 8 Hussars there, and Jerimuno only lost 3 Yulins. He did get some damage off on a lot of the other Yulins, but they stayed alive and are going to continue to DPS in this other cavalry engagement. Again, ageofkiller losing.
I guess Jerimuno did a very good job. Wow.
Yeah, ageofkiller losing 5 Hussars there. Jerimuno only losing another 4 Yulins. So again, the trade went very well in the favor of Jerimuno. And
why did he do that?
I think ageofkiller is actually continuing to pump more resources into Hussars rather than aging up.
Yeah, this is interesting, especially when Jerimuno is on his way to H3. Oh wow! Look, another catch. 1 Hussar has been split, but he can take this if he micros it correctly.
Yeah, Jerimuno doing a good job to focus fire all of his Yulins on 1 Hussar, deal the most damage as possible to, that's just proper micro. But, yeah, still looks like Jerimuno's going to take it, but the trade went a bit more even there. But even still, I think Age of Killer just not going with the right line of play. You know, having lost 18 Hussars to Jerimuno's 15. Jerimuno is safely in Age 3 right now, and Age of Killer is still, you know, in the process of going to the Fortress Age. He also has less infrastructure. He's just now building his barracks. Doesn't have less. Oh, yep, yeah. So Jerimuno does have 1 barracks up. He's running out of 1 coin mine, but still has plenty in the back coin mine. Sending 9 Yulins, already upgraded to veteran status. That's going to be his first shipment in the Fortress Age.
This is going to be interesting. Now, Age of Killer has a ship, and I would like to see 5 Dragoons in response to that. He sent a shipment right now, and let's see the units in queue. And he has Skirmisher Goon. So this is going to be Skirm Johan versus Skirmisher Dragoon, I guess. So far, it looks like it.
It's absolutely true, but I mean, you can just look at Age of Killer's resources and see, you know, even though he has 2 Skirms in queue, 2 Dragoons in queue, that's all he can produce.
He's in trouble.
Everything
He's in trouble right now.
Yeah, all of his villagers are pent up in the TC, can't gather any more resources. So besides that shipment, the 2 Skirmishers and the 2 Dragoons, that's all of his military out right now. As long as he's pent up in this TC, he can't produce any more. Oh, so we do see 5 Dragoons, and I think he...
Dragoons, 5 Dragoons? No, he only put 4 from the stable. It's still 9 Dragoons. They can kill these Yuhans, definitely. And if they found these, I'm pretty sure he saw the pathing of these Yuhans going there. So he might try to take a shot at it, but Jerimuno smartly pulling away. Because if he did stay, he would lose his Yuhans, if microed correctly by Age of Killer.
Yeah, you also have to keep in mind that Jerimuno's shipment progression is actually going to be very slow as a consequence of losing his Explorer so early in the match in a Discovery Age, as well again in Colonial Age. So he actually has not built a trading post at all this game. Age of Killer does have 1 trading post of his own, which is actually a really big help. It's going to get him his 2nd shipment much sooner. You can see the 2nd shipment, despite aging up later than Jerimuno, Age of Killer was able to get his 2nd shipment before Jerimuno was, and he has the 3 Caressier as his 2nd Fortress Age shipment.
We have the theoretical counter composition, but he's just gonna waste his cuirassiers like this? He needs more cuirassiers to tank. These Yuhans can just die in order to kill them. So the skirmishers are safe, but right now... He needed more cuirassiers there, definitely, and these Dragoons to tank. Yuhans can drop very fast, but you need something to body block. You need to still take account, even if they are now lower HP than before, they still do the same output of damage. So once they get on top of stuff, they kill it. GG, called by a so this has been a very fast game overall. I think it came down to the point when he somehow wasted his Hussars.
Yeah, I think
he just sent Hussars. He didn't group. Even if he was snared, he could still, I guess, group these incoming 15 Hussars. If you look at the trading post where the battle has been taken, I still think he could have grouped that and tried to take a more even fight, or maybe even win it.
Yeah, so I think as soon as Breeze had lost that engagement with the 8 Hussars, he had the 5 Hussar batch pop out, and then he queued them to just an awkward part of the map where, again, he just lost everything there. So he lost 8 Hussars to 3 Yulins, then he lost 5 Hussars to, I think it was maybe 5 Yulins. So not even a theoretically even trade, but a slightly... you know, just while he might have had the right strategy, his execution was just not there. You know, with his military control and where he was around the map, he didn't put on a lot of raiding pressure on Jerimuno, and Jerimuno very quickly translated that into a win. You can see in the Fortress Age, just having so many more units, having the momentum, having just a quick win, similar to Game 1 where we saw Breeze lose in 12 minutes, China versus British. That'll be Game 2 going to Jerimuno. And we'll be moving on to Game 4. I believe the map is Alaska. And I think...
Water map.
Yeah.
We might see Breeze shining on this one as well, as we did in the Game 2. Now the thing is, the Jerimuno has to pick his first pick, his civ. And the civilizations, as you've mentioned, have been resetted by now. So he's free to pick any civilization he likes to. He can even pick Germany, I think, again, if he wants to.
On Alaska,
on the other side of the
I would expect
Germany
Jerry
on
to.
Alaska is. Some say it will be a bit strange of a pick because German Sea is not in particularly that good, and Germans usually rely on a training post.
Yeah, I just want to call it real quick.
Although
I
in the last
expect
game,
Jerimuno to go with either India or British here. Those are his two main civilizations, and on Alaska, a map without trading posts. Those are kind of good agnostic civilizations. They don't really rely on XP or shipments to, execute their game plans like civilizations like Ottoman, Spain, Germany do. So ageofkiller saying he'll go for the mirror, but also encouraging his opponent to just forfeit. I can respect it.
yeah, we will see. We will see what these players do have in mind in a few moments, I guess. Kamchatka is not a water map, Breeze. Kamchatka is a land map. So, this is a match point for Jerimuno. If he can win this game, he continues his way up the ladders in the tournament and he reaches the semifinals. And if he would do that, he would face.
All right,
Let's
so
see.
the winner of this match is actually going to go on to face Iron Turk in the semifinals.
Yeah, he's gonna face Iron Turk, which would be interesting series as well.
So Jerimuno is leading the series 2-1. Map is going to be Alaska going into Game 4. But this is ageofkiller locking Portuguese as his counter pick. This is his main civilization, so I think this is going to be his time to shine. But maybe Jerimuno, I don't know Jerimuno really as an Aztec player. But Aztec having, with the warrior priests on the fire pit, they get a water dance, which buffs the attack of their warships. So Aztec actually has one
And
of the strongest navies in the game.
Aztec definitely has the potential to spam out one of the strongest navies in the game. Although we need to consider one thing. The Portuguese are really good in regards to taking control over some areas. You still need resources for these boats, and you need to spam them constantly. And the strength relies mostly in the big mass of them. So somehow you need to mass this army of boats. And especially the best ones are the cannons in H3. The war cannons, I think. But even the regular ones in H2, you can even get them from native training posts if you are a non-native civilization. They are still a very dangerous force to be reckoned with, only if they are in a huge masses. Alone themselves, it really relies on the quantity, I feel. If you have the quantity of these small, but in a way effective ships, well, cannons, then you have the upper hand, of course.
So I'm just
but let's see.
at the hunts here.
Maybe after all, Jerimuno plans to go with a land agenda. Maybe he tries to FI if Breeze goes waters and hit some timing with the Skull Knights, Arrow Knights in order to siege things down. Or if he might just try to rush, do a regular Aztec rush. I would expect pikemen, mace, Hudson, maybe some coyotes into mixture.
Yeah, so historically, I don't actually think that Aztec is very favored in this matchup. The colonial militia shipment from the Portuguese, it's a shipment that buffs the attack of the town centers as well as gives them access to a bigger Minutemen shipment. It's a bit more expensive, but it can just, at the right time, it can deal so much damage and buy you so much time. So Portuguese starting with 2 town centers, 2 very high HP defensive buildings. They're just so powerful. It's hard for an Aztec to get a rush off against them.
Also, the huge thing about colonial militia in this matchup is that if you have 10 villagers in a town center, they can exactly one-shot one pike. Exactly.
Yeah,
They
so
deal 135 HP, I think, and the Aztec pikemen, the Puma spearmen, have 135 HP, so they can one-shot them. That's the real deal of this matchup, I would say, in regards to sending colonial militia. Because Aztec rushers relies heavily on pikes and their ability to siege. The siege is the key, but the colonial militia town center prevents that. Now let's check the water decks of these players, and we can see Jerimuno has a water deck. He has the cards necessary for water play. Although, if you look at his deck closely, then you can see that he can do a land play as well. Meanwhile, ageofkiller is definitely heavy on water. Even though you could still kind of make some play out of it on land, but the deck really favors water play over land play. So I really expect ageofkiller to go water on this particular matchup.
absolutely, I would never expect Breeze to pass up the opportunity to play water on this map, but I'm very curious where he's going to place his second town center. Maybe he'll go for a defensive position just in his base and have the docks situated on this coast in the back of his TC, rather than try to extend farther out, like on this side, you know, where there's a higher risk where, you know, Jerimuno is just able to rush him down as the Aztec player.
Also, one interesting thing about this is that Breeze has advanced dock. This is a very interesting card in a way that the docks are very strong, especially when there are fishing boats in them, garrisoned or canoes even. They deal a lot of damage. And if he tries to send this card, I would like him maybe to contest the middle. With the dogs. Maybe he can try to place a dog like one dog here in order to gather from this area, as I'm pointing out. But the middle, if you look at the middle, is the most interesting part because you have the whales over there. There's nothing on the sides of the sea. Meanwhile, as I speak, Jerimuno has discovered a native warrior.
Oh wow, yeah, he's got that Nuka Clubman again. You know, having his explorer in the right position, trying to deny those forward docks coming out the side from Breeze, but the native warrior is what.
Maybe the Breeze plans originally was to just place dock over here and his town center over here, but this Nuka warrior made sure that Breeze is not going here in the middle. Try to secure the middle. It's actually a really big treasure in a way.
Yeah, certainly. Dealing so much damage to that the forward villager, it just kind of scares it away. It would kill it before it's able to fully complete something like a dock or a barracks or whatever is going to go up there. In addition to that, it also has a really high siege attack, so it could just siege it down after it's even if it gets completed, it just sieges it down so fast.
With this H1 army, he could maybe siege the town center down to a certain point, and his first ship in H2 would be the 2 war cannons to finish it off. It would be very big to lose a town center that early. Instead, we see Breeze playing it safe. Kind of like it in a way. He's building a wall, a very effective wall, maybe except this, because there's a small gap, I feel. But overall, this wall seems to be perfectly okay. What is he doing is that he tries to move water.
Yeah, and so while Jerimuno is kind of delaying ageofkiller's game plan, he's actually gone with a very economic build order himself, having all of his villagers on the fire pit, sending 3 warrior priests, and trying to get all of his 10 warrior priests. Aztec, they start with 1 warrior priest, can send 3, and then they can train up to 10 of them. And they basically, when they're tasked to the fire pit, they act as 2 villagers. So, you know, you can put those on the experience dance, which grants like 10 experience per second. I think the normal trickle rate is like 4 or something.
No,
it's a huge buff.
I would really like to Breeze ship 2 caravels now. He has the potential. I think he's shipping them, but this war hut is going to go up before that happens, I feel. Or maybe No, I don't think so.
Yeah, Breeze saving
I
that
don't think
damaged
so.
villager that was about to die to the Nuka. He put it in the fishing boat, and then he garrisoned the fishing boat in the dock as well. So there's 2 layers of protection there.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. And now you can see the water flag has moved over there. I really think the 2 caravels is the next shipment. And now look at this. Okay, Jerimuno is definitely going on the dock play. Maybe he tries to span canoes and tries to dance on water, which is a real possibility here. On the other hand, if ageofkiller is able to get 2 or 3 docks over here and move his fishing boat strategically in order to gather from here, although it will take some other time, and ship advanced docks, in this regard, I don't think it would be breakable. The only thing he made a mistake, apparently. I don't know where exactly. I'll see later. But yeah, this wall hut is going down. And this one as well.
Oh.
All right. Yeah, so I guess this was the apparently mistake. I thought he's making canoes. So one thing about it is if ageofkiller manages to get 3 docks here, even with this canoe span, he can garrison his fishing boats and he can just destroy these canoes with just the advanced dock. That's the important part.
So yeah, I think Jerimuno making a slight mistake with his build order. They're gonna have his 10 canoes out much later than he would have liked, and by this time, you know, ageofkiller is so established on the water, he might be able to take down this war hut from Jerimuno, and then Jerimuno's gonna have no coastal defenses, besides of course his docks and his canoes. I think he's got actually his canoes penned up in his docks right now. They do have a small anti-ship attack, but these one of the caravels did go down, and the other 2 are damaged.
And look at this. Ageofkiller has shipped advanced dock. He's dropping another dock. Yeah, he's going for it. He expects canoe spam, and he has to respond fast to that, and he just did. He just did ship the advanced docks. This caravel is gonna go now. The 2 war canoes coming, and now the canoes. There's the canoe spam. But now look at this advanced docks. Look at this ship anti-attack. This is just insane, and there's not even many boats in it. Imagine if he had these fishing boats over here, try to bring them in. They would just go down. And Jerimuno even realizes this, but he didn't take a dock down. Even though it would be still a beneficial trade, even if he took this dock down, because the docks cost 200 wood, and these canoes are, of course, more expensive.
And you can see ageofkiller is actually repairing that dock that was damaged in that engagement. And if you take a look at the recalculated economic population, there's so many villagers in ageofkiller's base. He's actually about to run out of a hunt. Actually, he's got a nice safe moose hunt and then some more moose to the other side. But he's got so many boats. His economy is massive. It's almost 3 times the size of what Jerimuno has.
It actually... Yeah, you are right. It's insane. It's only 9 minutes.
Yeah, almost 10-minute mark, and he's got a stronger economy than what British can do. And in addition to that, he's got control of the water. You know, Jerimuno's investing so much into these boats, these ships. He sent 2 upgrades for them. But even if he's able to win on water, ageofkiller is so far ahead in terms of his land economy that it doesn't really matter for it.
The water dance is now coming in. These cannons are very, very strong. But now these docks, okay, look at this damage output. They are doing a good damage output. This one caravel is sniping things down, which I like, but I don't think there's enough docks here. The Aztec water is really insane in regards to this. Well, it will be very interesting because Jerimuno is gonna, with this economy, run out of resources for sure. He's gonna run out of steam. It's a play of time. Wow, look at these boats.
Yeah, those docks and that caravel just got absolutely melted. And as well, forcing like maybe 15 boats there.
The only thing the ageofkiller has to hope for is just he can spam docks and just garrison boats in here and try to hold it off. Meanwhile, while making caravels or something from these docks. Look at this Aztec water. Holy.
So even with that
He needs
advanced
like
dock,
yeah, he probably needs like 5 docks next to each other with gas and fishing boats. On the other side of the note, Jerimuno has been fully committing to land play, and now with the economy, as we mentioned, the big economic difference, the Age of Killer is now going on land. He realizes there's nothing much to do on water, so he switched to land. And look at these villagers going down. GG. Wow.
yeah. So even though we were seeing some convincing play on the water, basically about to kill all of Age of Killer's sea economy as well as the docks, take control there. I think Jerimuno being upset by the little mishap he had with his build order, sending schooners when he needed to make war canoes and not fishing boats, and because of that, that lapse in build order, just being behind on time, being like 40 seconds, a minute behind. He's not able to defend this 5 Hus raid. He's just too behind to do anything.
Yeah. Do you think about it? Jerimuno has put every resource he had over the course of this game in trying to contest water. When he would actually win in regards to contesting water, or Age of Killer would be forced to be stuck in here in his base with his 2 docks maybe, and the TC's having a support fire. But at that time, even if these fishing boats were idle here, he would still have a huge economic lead. And these resources on the sea, they are not fishing boats. They are canoes. They can fish, but not that fast as a fishing boat, I think. So even then, they are expensive fishing boats, very expensive fishing boats. And now, as Age of Killer has realized it, he's losing the sea. He went on land and surprised Jerimuno there. He made use of his early huge economy in a good way, I would say.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily Jerimuno had the wrong idea there. It's just he was probably frustrated by his execution of it. Of course, messing up the build order there, and it did put him behind enough to where even if he wins water, he's still going to lose the game. So I think a frustrating loss for him there, and that'll be game 4. It's going to tie up the series 2-2, and we're going to go to a 5th game. It's going to be on Kamchatka.
This is gonna decide. This is definitely gonna decide who's gonna advance to the semifinals of this tournament. This one last game on Kamchatka. Let's see what the players will pick. And I think Age of Killer is actually forced to do a first pick. So Jerimuno has definitely a huge advantage in regards to counter picking, because he can just counter pick the civilization or try to force out the matchup he's comfortable with. Let's see.
Still waiting on Jerimuno to join that game. But yeah, as far as what we can expect Jerimuno to pick on Kamchatka, I might say he'll probably... Actually, he's going to get the counter pick. So Breeze is going to have to lock in his civilization first. So he's already used his Portuguese, can't use them again for the rest of the series. What I might expect is probably... Yeah, what do you think?
I would probably maybe expect India. India might be a reasonable pick on Kamchatka because of the livestock.
Yeah, there are goats to be picked up, so...
And India isn't so easily counter-picked, I think. Also, the Aztec, which is one of the counters to India, apparently. Well, I don't know if it's... I remember it as a counter-pick. I don't know how it exactly works, that matchup now, but Jerimuno cannot play Aztecs either way. Maybe he could try to play Russia, but Russia is... It's so against India. I wouldn't say it's really a counter to India. It might be actually the other way around. But let's see what even Age of Killer has in mind. Okay, he picks India. Interesting. Does he lock it, though?
It was exactly like you called it. He's going to lock India here, and it'll be on Jerimuno to counterpick.
He's going to pick India. All right.
And do you think Jerimuno will go for the Indian mirror, or maybe he'll take his British?
I don't know if British is the most reasonable choice. I don't know. Especially this map doesn't have that much of a resources overall next to bases. There are hunts scattered over the map. the mines are scattered over the map. The second mine usually is in not so very defensible position if we talk about base surroundings of your town center. So I'm not so sure. The British mostly rely on heavy food income. As long as they have a lot of food and some mines, they are very good because they have a lot of villagers. But Jerimuno is maybe trying to mirror this, which might be a reasonable option if he's comfortable with it. Let's see if he confirms it and locks India as well. Right. So, I honestly don't myself know what should I make in India mirror, because I guess.
Yeah, India is just such a versatile civilization. There are so many different ways you can play it. We've seen like fast industrials in the mirror. We've seen water play in the mirror. We've seen Fortress Age, just a semi-FF sort of. We've seen colonial play. We've
or
seen
Seppo Urumi ceasefire attack.
Yeah, so many ways to play it. It's hard to tell. It's hard to, there's no real right composition because there's just every composition can be right.
Although I don't think it might actually work in an India mirror, because you can just double ceasefire. Like one player says, "Hey, I'm gonna ceasefire and walk units to your base." The other guy says, "Nope, I'll ceasefire too." I don't know how that works out, but that would be pretty fun to see.
Seems like Breeze is gonna need an extended bathroom break here.
Yeah, either way, I'm really looking forward on this match. It decides who goes up in the tournament, and best of luck to both players.
Yeah, certainly. They're going to be facing.
In regards to matchup, in regards to matchup, it's completely fair because it's a mirror.
Yeah,
I honestly think it also, in most of the mirrors, actually, the H1 could decide a lot. Whether or not you have a good treasures or you get your treasure stolen or your opponent just steamrolls you with treasures, it can change a lot, this H1, even though the player's decisions and build orders and overall macro and manage resource and management, there are so many things that you need to account of each player.
Yeah, I think the player that kind of establishes control around the middle of the map, the middle part of the map, you can see there's like this, it's not a plateau, but it's got like, it's surrounded on four sides by 4 paths, and of course those 4 little water lakes. I think not even just the control in regards to like Age 2, where, one player builds the aggro fort there and one player builds a defensive aggro. I think also just in Discovery Age, that's the place where, the best treasures are. There's like 90 wood, 85 wood, guarded by 2 tigers or whatever. The player that gets like the better trade, when they're jousting in that middle part in Discovery Age, is probably going to be able to establish, a better line of sight, better scouting of the map. Maybe even like translate that into not only just better treasures, but they'll get more goats. And from there, like, I think the aggressive player is at an advantage in this matchup. And there can only be one of them.
Yeah, I think so too. Or you might actually see something like both players trying to establish some sort of control. Let's say the aggro forts are built next to each other, and they are trying to hard contest the middle. And overall, the resources there and the potential it has strategically, we might very well see a fast game. It's hard. It's hard to. It's hard to predict either way what which of these players think about what they want to do. You can just speculate on it. We will see it in the game, of course.
Yeah, but it is a hot minute before we're able to start the game, of course. Breeze is taking a 9-minute piss, so... I actually forgot to mention the donation earlier. I made a footnote of it. I want to say thank you to I Will Spank You. She donated $36, and she said, this is for the Black Duke. I guess there was something going on in chat that we didn't get to be privy to. But thank you for the donation, and that definitely helps for the next tournament event that we're going to run. But while we have, just some time, we can also speak on what's going on for the rest of the stream tonight. In a little bit, we're going to have an interview with Lucas L99. I don't know if he's online yet, but I'll make sure after this match is over. That should be going on around 18 or 20:45 GMT. After that, we're going to have a bit of downtime, a bit of a break, and then we'll start at 22 GMT, the only boss versus Conquer 999, which is another quarterfinals second chance match. Tomorrow on Sunday, October 28th at 15 GMT, we're going to have the grand finals of the Autumn Championship 2018. It'll be between Snow and Kainisi, seed number 9 and seed number 10. An unexpected matchup, but I think they're going to put up some great games, and we'll have a really nice series. As well, this series has been pretty good between Jerimuno and ageofkiller. Or, I think some of the games have been one-sided. You see the water player, ageofkiller, kind of dominate in that field, and you see the more land or standard-oriented player, Jerimuno, kind of dominate on the land maps. But still, I think you can kind of see like the clash between the two play styles. And even still, like with that that last game we saw in Game 4, I don't think Jerimuno necessarily went with like the wrong strategy. I just think he kind of got a little frustrated and called it a bit early. As well, he messed up on his build order, which was maybe a source of his frustration.
Yeah, it definitely matters in this regard as well. You can get very frustrated, especially in a tournament, very easily if you do some sort of mistake. Even though it doesn't need to be necessarily big, but it's really easy to get frustrated, and after that, it's going downside. So, either way, in regards to the games that have been played, we have seen that Jerimuno definitely handles the land play better than the ageofkiller. Although, in regards to matchups, I guess the first game on Tibet, the British versus China, I would pretty much say that it's a British favorite matchup. Sometimes it seems for China to be really hard to kind of contest the masses and the abilities of the British player that can field. The second game on land, on high plains, the French versus Germany, I think ageofkiller just misplayed the cavalry wars in H2, and that made him lose the game. We have seen that he tries to go in response to skirmisher Johan with dragoons and cuirassiers. Now imagine if he had kept his hussars in order to body block the Johans. I think he would have won that fight in the end.
Yeah, I don't think ageofkiller necessarily went with the wrong build order in that match. It's just his execution was so wonky, having those hussars in the wrong position.
As I said, I think he misplayed it with the Hussar Wars in regards to controlling them. Unit control there was... The build order itself was fine, I would say, but...
Yeah, just imagine like ageofkiller had won that engagement, like 13 Hussars against 13 Yulins, and then he'd have like 5 or 6 Hussars left over, and then he can go raid Jerimuno while he's aging up. That would have definitely changed the course of the match, and it would have had a great impact. But of course,
or maybe even keep them for himself and train some hussars while aging up, if that is possible.
Yeah,
and
even do
try
that.
to upgrade these hussars and train dragoons.
Yeah, and just
ship 5, train 5. You have 10 dragoons, some hussars, 3 cuirassiers next, and you have a very good body block on these dragoons. In regards to that, this unit composition is theoretically a counter composition to skirmisher Johan. So he should be able to go well from that point. Let's see. Anyway, the game is about to start. I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, so this will be Game 5, match point of the match between ageofkiller and Jerimuno, a best-of-5 series in the quarterfinals of the Autumn 2018 Second Chance Tournament. In the last game, we saw ageofkiller take a pretty convincing win with his Portuguese against Jerimuno's Aztec. Ageofkiller locking his India first on Kamchatka, and Jerimuno counterpicking it with his own India. So we're going to see an Indian mirror here. Game 5, it's match point.
So let me quickly check the hunts and mines. This is actually very essential, especially in a mirror like this, especially in a match point. And I honestly think that Jerimuno is better off with the hunts. In regards to mines, he's got 2 forward mines in his base, but I think this is a bit... Well, this hunt is kind of in the middle. It can be contested. I think... What do you think about it?
I think it's fine. I think both players have 3 reasonably hunted herds. I wouldn't really concern myself with like the 4th hunt, the 5th hunt, the 6th hunt. They're all in reasonable positions.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Either way, I expect some of these players, one of these players, or maybe both of these players, trying to contest the middle. As you can already see, it's being rich on resources. You have 2 hunts, 1 mine, and you have a trading post even, safe next to it, if aggro forts were to be placed there, and the H1. Right now, the ageofkiller got 40 wood, and the players, what they are doing right now, are stealing goats.
Yeah, so ageofkiller scouting out another 2 goats as well. I think he stole 1 from Jerimuno, but Jerimuno was able to steal it back. Even still, I think ageofkiller's at a slight lead in terms of goats. Both players should have scouted in full the center of the map, so they know where these prime treasures are. You see the 80 coin and the 85 wood, but only 1 player is lined up to begin taking them, and that's going to be ageofkiller. Getting set up to take this 85 wood treasure from the 2 tigers, but equally, Jerimuno's found himself a nice one with 75 food guarded by 2 snow leopards, taking that right now. ageofkiller as well, taking it. The 2 tigers, I don't think his position was...
Yeah, if you think about it, that maybe Jerimuno will be able... actually no. But you can see that how Jerimuno have dealt with these 2 treasure guardians, the 2 tigers, the snow leopards, and how ageofkiller did. How much HP they have both lost on their explorers. There was definitely a miss micro from ageofkiller. And now he's mentioning he got 2 wood treasures on a mirror. In total, he got 125 wood. In an Indian mirror, the wood is a very scarce resource in regards to... It's very rare. It's very rare to get so much wood like this. Because Indian villagers cost wood, and wood for India is more essential than for any other civilization in this game, I would say. Maybe for the British, but either way, you need wood to produce villagers to build buildings. So wood is a really important resource for India to have.
Yeah, well, it's not like, I don't think the villager seconds matter that much. What matters most is how that kind of streamlines each player into the colonial age. By getting that wood shipment, or not the wood shipment, but the wood treasures for ageofkiller, he's able to take his vills off of gathering wood. He can gather more food in Discovery Age, and thereby, just age up sooner.
It's kind of a... If you get the food, you age up sooner. If you get the wood, you also kind of age up sooner. It's a bit of a trade-off, but overall, the wood is the slowest gathering resource. So getting the wood is mostly considered to be better. Now look at this. ageofkiller decides to go forward. I expect him to drop an aggro fort over here.
Certainly,
in regards to positioning.
It's quite late for the age up, especially if he's only going to have 1 villager on it.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of late for the age up, but he's got the map control. That's the most important thing. He's got 1 villager more as well. It's 15 vills to 14 vills right now. Now it's being balanced, but he got a villager lead at some point, so he's gonna be 1 villager ahead soon enough, I guess, if he didn't stop his villager production. But right now, the essential thing is the map control. He's got control over these 2 hunts. Well, this one is kind of running away for some reason, I think. But he can easily herd it towards his aggro fort in order to secure it. And Jerimuno is going to be on the clock. He's going to have to work with these hunts. Well, either way, it's still enough to supply yourself for some time. I cannot exactly point on how many minutes in the game it would be a supply of food, but also the mines. It plays a big factor. The map control overall in this game plays a really big factor. So even then, if the scores are a bit different, someone has the map control. It's kind of a score you cannot see on the numbers, but you can see it for yourself. So let's see how this game goes. This is a defensive aggro placement. Maybe he tries to age and use these resources he has in base in order to get attack advantage. And overall, the defender's advantage of getting your Minutemen here sooner if needed. It's an overall very interesting thing to watch this game.
Yeah,
So,
ageofkiller hitting up a little bit later, about 20 or 25 seconds. So his build order, his first shipment in Age 2 is going to come a bit later than Jerimuno's. And by product, he's going to have his unit production a little bit later. Just everything about his build order going to be a little bit later, but it's on Jerimuno to make something of that little advantage that he has in the age up time. And we can see a consulate going down for him here. First shipment going to be foreign logging for Jerimuno. So basically like the 5 villager shipment for the Indian player. And if you multiply 5... Okay, so a villager gathers at about 1 resource per second. You multiply 5 by 20, that's kind of like 100 resources for Jerimuno, just because he aged up so much sooner.
Yeah, that's true. The shipment is 30 seconds later.
Yeah, so there you go. You can just multiply
even
30.
Even though there's a resource advantage in regards to aging, yes, that is correct. But then again, the map control, it's a value that you cannot really sometimes calculate, but it's essential.
True, but I also think you have to take into account how many hunts Jerimuno has in his base, especially considering India doesn't have to spend their food on producing villagers. These hunts are going to last him a long time, so it's going to give him a lot of leeway with what strategies he wants to do. And I don't think ageofkiller can kind of rely on like the contain game plan. Should he try to like continue to pressure in Age 2 instead of aging up? I think both of these players are a little bit greedy, so maybe they'll try to age up. We do see some cheeky raiding going on with the...
I was trying to I link a bit of time in the town center, but he's gonna lose these sepoys to the elephants, and essentially, well, the Gurkhas and the sepoys are turning away because he realizes he can just kill the sepoy with the elephants. He's maybe trying to get the sepoy next to the hunt in order, since the monks have the splash damage, to try to anti-herd kind of. That was actually smart. If he's gonna lose it, he's trying to min-max things and get the most out of it. Both players follow up with the same build order. Although ageofkiller has shipped 300 export, the diplomatic intrigue, faster for some reason. Even though he's been later in the age up, he received his second shipment in Age 2 faster than Jerimuno. Both of these players are getting the ultimate confidence. So I can expect, both of these players do research for villager tech from the consulate. Ageofkiller being slightly faster, but that's a matter of few resources. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, so far we're going into, the 9-minute to 10-minute stage of the game, and the players are exactly mirrored, going with the greediest build order possible with the Indian civilization. Basically, 5 vils and 4 vils and then 600 coins. So it looks like Jerimuno, he's got a sizable...
I think Jerimuno might try to age, and Breeze is following up with 600 coin as well, but you can see he's training units in his base. He's training now cavalry. He's training the Saurs, the Indian cavalry, which are basically Hussars, but not really Hussars, but the purpose is to kill infantry with them.
Yeah, so this is going to be
especially the skirmisher ones.
This is going to be the first divergence in the build order. So while Jerimuno is going to try to distribute to age up, he's also building a stable in the back. He does have a bigger Gurkha mass, but considering that Breeze is training Sours, it seems like he took them out of queue, actually. Breeze is going to go up to Age 3 himself.
Yeah, as well. So we might just see right now that both of these players are going to age up, and they are gonna age up at the same time. Although the difference is between the wonders. Reese is aging with the 800 wood, I think. Wonder, the
Yeah, it could be the I forget what it's called as well, but it's the one that grants the inspiration ability, as well.
yeah, the Charmin.
It could be the Charmin
And
Gate. That one grants the ability to produce Min Sabdar units, which buff nearby units, as well as it grants a Mahout Lancer upon the age up. But yeah, like you said, Jerimuno going for the Taj Mahal, which grants 800 coin.
Yeah, he's getting the Charminar Gate. This is the... I don't remember. Either way, I'm pretty sure Jerimuno is going here with the Taj Mahal, the Ceasefire Wonder, and 800 coin. So we might see some Sepoy Ceasefire, but right now it might be Gurkha Urumi Ceasefire. I don't know. We can expect anything. All right. So Jerimuno seems to be committing into Skirmisher Ground composition. Pretty standard composition. Meanwhile, Breeze is on the other hand adding another barracks. And I don't see Jerimuno having a barracks yet. So these Gurkhas are not going to be upgraded upon the age up. Meanwhile, Breeze will have the ability to do so. Now the Jerimuno builds a barracks. This upgrade is probably going to be a bit later. But in regards to that, before Age of Killer, if he decides to push the Jerimuno's base, I think he should catch up. It's not going to matter in the end, I guess, but let's see. The economy still seems fairly even. Age of Killer has one more villager in regards to economic unit population.
Booty,
and military seem to be quite...
You're going to want to pay attention to this, but Jerimuno is actually sitting on exactly 1,200 to 1,300 coin, and he's got all of his villagers on food, or most of them at least. So I think he's actually going to try to sneak up to the industrial age.
Completely missed that. Wow, that's actually really interesting. He's going to go for it. He's going to go for the industrial age. Yeah, this will be very interesting thing to see what he's going to do. He has a shipment in stack. I suppose he's going for the Urumis. And he's aging with the Tower of Victory. That's the tower which grants you wood and gives you the inspiration. Which ability? I don't think it's inspiration. Or is it?
It might be. It might still be the Charminar Gate or the Tower of Victory. We're not quite sure yet. But I think what's important is if you take a look at Jerimuno's resources and base, he has almost no more hunts left, and he's going to have to extend out to some exposed part of the maps if he wants to continue gathering. Gathering food is really important, especially if he wants to streamline the Urumi shipments in Age 4.
Yeah, exactly. I think he realized he has enough of resources and base in order to go Age 4. Yeah, that is maybe true. But this is the part when the map control takes place. This is the part where the map control starts to matter a lot. As you have mentioned, this hunt is very exposed. If you look at it, there's not much of a distance between this base and the army on the orange player between it. This hunt also seems a bit exposed. He needs to put some infrastructures, like maybe a town center, although he has the wood in order to do so right now.
But I think having...
engagement, maybe?
Yeah, having seen Jerimuno age up, Age of Killer knows this is at the time where Jerimuno is at his weakest, and he needs to push and needs to make something happen before Jerimuno can stabilize with more upgraded units.
Jerimuno has 2 shipments in stack. He's buying food right now. He has no wells on food. He queued a shipment. It's going to be 10 Urumis. I'm pretty sure he's shipping the 10 Urumis. Ceasefire ability. Not sure why. I think maybe he tries to buy some time in order before these Urumis get out and try to trap him. Although Age of Killer doesn't seem to look enough free mahouts over here. If he can get them on top of the Urumis, he can definitely take this fight, but they are too far away, I think. The Urumis should pop about now. If he can do that, this is going to be exciting. Let's see. Where will he pop them?
I don't think it was the perfect time. Ooh, oh, there's the Minutemen, and there's the Urumi popping out right now. But look at these men,
They are
these
popping up right
mahouts.
now, the Mahouts. They are gonna destroy them. These Mahouts are gonna destroy these Yurumis, and even the Stomps are taking place right now. If ageofkiller is able to take out this anti-cap and pop the Mahouts on top of the Gurkha, he can definitely win. He can definitely take the match point.
Yeah, so we can see Ageofkiller still left with three Mahouts, as well as some Yurumi of his own. All of the Yurumi from Jerimuno's shipment being cleaned up there, just so, like, the Yurumis are basically skirmishers in hand combat, so these Mahouts being placed right on top of them, they dealt massive damage, cleaned them up very quickly, and, you know, basically...
They're out of position. These Gurkhas are definitely gonna go down. Now the thing is, Jerimuno has another shipment in queue. He can maybe still ship not 10 Yurumis anymore, but 9 Yurumis, which are the infinite shipment. I think they are on the way. In response to that, ageofkiller is trying to train some Sawas, but I don't know. The Mahout seems to be more of a viable option if he maybe trained some of them and kept going Gurkha, which would be the ideal counter composition to Zambarak Yurumi. Let's see. Will the Yurumis pop now on the Sepoys? He needs to really take care of his Mahouts. If they're gonna die, he dies too. The Saurs are not capable of cleaning up the H4 Yurumi, definitely not. Especially in the small mass.
Even with that said, you know, Ageofkiller doing a nice job to clean up these Zambraks. I don't think it was the best trade to use his Sours to chase after them. But still, you know, Jerimuno's got so many villas penned up. Actually has nothing penned up in his TC. I don't know where his villagers are gathering. They're actually gathering at his second town center.
Let's see. The Mahout is still have a decent amount of HP. He really needs to get up on them. These Sours just melt. He's smartly killing the Zamburaks, but even though, look at this Mahout alone.
Yeah, focusing the Zamburaks on the Mahout, but it might be enough. I mean, there are so many Yurumi still left alive. That's killing off Ageofkiller's Gurkha mass. All of his ranged infantry, and all he has left is some Zamburaks and some Sepoys, units which the Yurumi counter.
Wow. More Saurus coming in, and more Yurumis coming in. He needs to escape. He needs to escape and remass. He's taking the economic lead, but he's not really escaping. He's wasting his units. He needs to remass and try to contest this. He's idled a lot. The map is exposed. As we have mentioned, these hunts are going to be, and the mine is going to be drained by some time.
But it's honestly, it's not the worst thing when all of Ageofkiller's units are either dead now or engaged fighting off these Yurumi. So even though those resources are exposed, it's not really a concern of him because just Breeze doesn't have the opportunity to raid him at this time. And with that, we actually see Jerimuno stabilize, you know, Breeze kind of squander his victory there, his initial victory, I should say, having like a 50-unit lead, but just getting them caught out in bad positions and having them fight not together. They got cleaned up by the continuous Yurumi shipments from Jerimuno. And even though Jerimuno is sitting at a 20-villager disparity now, you know, he's quite behind in economy. He does have the stronger military, having these shadow-teched guard Yurumi. He also has disciplined Zamburaks, which synergize very, very well with the Yurumi. Yeah, some disciplined Sours for Breeze, but they aren't upgraded. They don't have those really strong Age 2 shipments that India get. And in fact, Jerimuno is going for a raid right now as well.
Jerimuno is going for the Yurumi raid. These villagers are gonna go down. It's very good for him. And now look at the Jerimuno shipments. He's just shipping Yurumis. He's just going full Yurumis. He's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna ship Yurumis. Ageofkiller has to do something. He's losing his economic lead right now. If he keeps going like this, there's only a 4 difference now.
Yeah, both players have 2 town centers, but you have to keep in mind that Jerimuno is... Yeah, he's idling so many of these villagers, killing off a bunch of them as well. But he has to be careful not to get caught out of position. You can see the massive camel mass from the orange player, Breeze, coming in now, and they might trap some of these units in awkward positions. I'd just like to see Breeze use attack move. Yeah, there you go. So a lot of these Yurumis are going to die to these Sours, but not before the Sour... a few of the Sours can die to these Redcoats. I'd also like to see, you know,
Uh, Eventually, these red courts are gonna die, but they're gonna do some damage before they're gonna die. Because the swords are not really the greatest option against heavy infantry like red coats. They even have negative multipliers like Nakinatas, for instance. He really needs to deal with these Yurumis. The later the game goes, the shipments become more XP expensive. That means there will be less Yurumis unless Jerimuno manages to get to Sacred Fields and get everything on, get like 10 cows each on these Sacred Fields, so maybe get an upgrade. Then the shipments will fall faster, but still, look at this. The Zamburaks are doing quite a nice job at cleaning out these Sours, but now the Gurkhas and Sepoys coming behind these Sours, and the Yurumis are starting to melt a bit. I don't know if there's enough of Yurumis to clean these up. They are low HP.
there's about 3 or 4 now, 4, maybe 2 Yurumis left. 1, 2, yeah, 1 very damaged. So all of the Yurumis are cleaned up, and all Jerimuno has is some disciplined Zamburaks that don't have any cards. So of course, Jerimuno not going to want to engage Dragoons against a skirmisher type unit. But even still, like, the economies are the same, and after all, Jerimuno is up in age, which is a massive boost. He still has the stronger Yurumis when he chooses to send them. And
it's a massive boost, but right now, again, the map control now thing starts to matter. This town center has been put to its use. It's been training villagers, it's been securing a one hunt, but now look at this. And this. This is the very exposed position. If ageofkiller can take advantage of this, but now look at this engagement. The Yurumis are capable of destroying this army. In regards to snaring,
as long as they can catch up, they're going to deal massive damage. I think
as long as they catch up, and now you can see that they're just bumping around the Zamburaks. And now there it is. They're coming forward. ageofkiller didn't pay much attention at all, and he didn't run away.
Some really nice micro from Jerimuno there.
Yeah, he really needs to kill these Yurumis. He's trying hard, but he's training Soars. They still do kind of okay. They are the country unit on paper, but these Yurumis are H4 and they are a very strong overall unit.
Yeah, you have to consider that at one point ageofkiller was 20 villagers ahead, and now not only is he sitting at a military disadvantage as well as a technology disadvantage being an age down, but he's actually been surpassed by Jerimuno in terms of economy. And now Jerimuno is the player that's going to be making the raids.
Jerimuno is making the raids, yeah, as you've mentioned. It's a very good position for him, denying this hunt, sneaking out his way. Although these Yurumis have died, but it's a good trade-off. These villagers, some of them are going to go down. ageofkiller shipping 5 Sepoys. He's really committing to some sort of all-in push he's trying to do right now.
Yeah, he just has not much in the way of better options. He could have sent like a camel upgrade. I don't think that would have been that much worse than 5 Sepoy. But Sours are actually coming out from Jerimuno as well. He's just choosing to pump his units into something that's going to directly counter that Gurkha mass that ageofkiller has been floating this entire game.
This raid might be crucial, but here we go. The town center is here. The Zamburaks are on the way to save the day. And although they might cross the path if these Sepoys and Gurkha are being mixed. But still, the longer the game goes right now, Jerimuno has advantage because of the town centers and his capabilities of producing a massive economy. ageofkiller responding with 3 town centers, but I think it's still being now too late. The economic lead is very huge. He needs to balance it out, but now he calls the GG. We run out of time.
And that's going to be match point going in the favor of Jerimuno. You know, for a minute there, we saw ageofkiller pushing into Jerimuno's base, and honestly, it looked like it was game over for Jerimuno. But
yeah, this was a very, very kind of a hopey game when it looked like Breeze is going to win. And then Jerry just magically came back. The tech advantage with the Yurumis happened a lot. In the end, Breeze has committed a lot to the Sours. And they don't do so well against Zamburaks, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
as soon as
I think what he needed. Yeah, continue. Go on.
as soon as Breeze hit age 4, you can see 90 military units to 59, just as the 10 Yurumi had popped. But getting those Mahouts in a very nice position, killing off all their Yurumi. Jerimuno basically had no military for a while there, but you can see like around the 15 to 16 minute mark, Breeze just wasn't really taking great trades, and he lost 2 engagements. I think those were when the 9 Yurumis popped out, and then when they popped out again. And he just lost all of his military mass. And at one point, of course, Jerimuno then had more military, and from that point, they were just about even in terms of military unit population. And then it was just kind of Jerimuno jousting out on the map. And then I want to look at the villager graph as well. A big raid at 18 minutes, which stabilized, or not stabilized, but equalized the economies. And at that point, Jerimuno having the military advantage, having the now economy advantage as well as the tech advantage, I think that was the point where he won it.
Definitely, I agree. It was either way. It was a very interesting game. It was a very interesting game to watch. There's been a lot of opportunities for both of the players. You see at the military graph, Ageofkiller had the really good timing at 13 minutes 50 seconds, and you can see the trade-off where the battle has been commenced at Jerimuno's base and a bit behind when he lost almost all of his units. From that point, Breeze has been in a really good spot, and he had a huge chance of winning, but Jerimuno managed to come back, and in the end, with the technology advantage and the Yurumi shipments, take the day.
Yeah, and so that'll be well played to Jerimuno.
Either way,
yeah, as you're saying.
Well played to both players, but congratulations to Jerimuno.
Yeah, certainly. And that'll see Jerimuno moving on to the semifinals of the Second Chance tournament. Next round, he's going to face I Am Turk. And I hope that is going to play out next weekend, so you can expect it next Saturday, next Sunday, the beginning of November. And that'll be it for this match.